In just 3 days, America votes in what's being called the most important election of our lifetimes.
We used to be center right and center left. Now we're like hard right and hard left.
And once again, all eyes are on Ohio. Ohio's political universe is wide open. For the first time in 8 years, we need a governor.
He believes that after 42 years in politics, he's entitled to be governor because it's just the next step on the ladder.
But can this Obama administration alum defeat a politician with a lifetime of experience here in our state?
We've come a long, long way since Richard Cordray and Ted Strickland were in office, and the way has been upward.
Another familiar name, Sherrod Brown.
My opponent can talk about whatever he wants when he has so little to talk about.
Tough luck for his Republican challenger.
When they hear me, they say Renaki, Renaki, Renachi. They don't even know how to pronounce my name.
But Jim Renacci isn't ready to throw in the towel.
When people hear my message and his message, they come my way.
This Tuesday, thousands of lives are at stake.
Clearly, the war on drugs, mass incarceration approach to drug use has failed.
Could Issue 1 be the solution to an opioid epidemic that's bulldozed the Buckeye State?
You need a consequence, and Issue 1 removes the consequences.
In just 3 days, America votes, and everything is on the line. News 5 special coverage of Democracy 2018 starts now. Here's John Cosick.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Cosick. Thank you for joining us for this Democracy 2018 pre-election special. Election Day almost in sight. It is a day that will determine the future of our state and the future of our country. Ohio has always been a bellwether in national campaigns, and once again, all eyes are going to be on the Buckeye State come Tuesday night to determine what color wave, if any, we might see. Washington may be referred to by some as a swamp, but it is likely the only swamp with waves. Waves that are most evident in midterm elections. In 2006, the water was deep blue as Democrats took back control of the House and Senate. In 2010 and 14, the wave was red as the House went Republican with the Senate to follow. It's a phenomenon that played out as well here in Ohio, when in 2006, Democrats won control of the governor's seat and all but one of the row offices, only to see the pendulum swing back to the Republicans 4 years later in 2010. Now in 2018, the waves are mixed, with signs pointing to the House going Democrat and the Senate staying Republican. And as a sign of Ohio's bellwether status, it is a split scene here. Consider this. Add up the averages in the mid-October Baldwin-Wallace poll of the row offices we just talked about, and you had only a fraction separating them. That's one of the reasons Ohio's races are being so closely watched. We are reflective of the nation.
We are 8 urban areas, each with their own suburban areas. We are rural. 80 of our 88 counties are classified as rural. We tend to be more of a mix, and as a result, we represent the states around the region and even other states in other parts of the country.
Sutton doesn't see President Trump's margin of victory in the state in 2016 as changing that bellwether status come 2020.
A lot of those were former Democrats that voted for President Trump. They're also going to take their measure of what his administration has done, and if they're not satisfied, they may take a look at the Democrat depending on who that candidate is.
Well, the key in this election, or any election, is enthusiasm. Whose base is fired up most? The best indicator of that at this point is early voting. Cuyahoga County has always been a state leader in early voting. The numbers are way up over the 2014 midterms. How much? Well, as of Friday morning, tried by 24% overall. Republicans are up 19% over 4 years ago. Independents, the county's largest voting bloc, more than doubling the number they put up in 14. Democrats, however, still below by 4% of that 2014 total. Your local Board of Elections in your county will be open tomorrow for early voting. This is the only Sunday for in-person early vote. The hours are from 1 p.m. till 5 p.m. Also, if you've requested and received a vote-by-mail ballot, remember, you got to send it back, either by dropping it off at your local Board of Elections office. At most, you can simply do that in the parking lot in a mailbox-type setup. If you're going to mail it, though, know that it has to be postmarked by Monday, November 5th in order to be counted. And early voting in the state comes to a close Monday at 2 p.m. Well, there's only one statewide issue on the ballot this year, titled appropriately enough, Issue 1. A yes vote would change the state constitution, banning jail or prison time for having or using drugs unless a person gets convicted 3 times in 24 months. The charges would also drop from felonies to misdemeanors.
It allows people the opportunity to get over the hurdles that they right now face in their life because of their drug addiction and move on with the rest of their life without a felony conviction hanging over their head.
But opponents say this is a necessary tool in Ohio's fight against addiction.
You need a consequence. And issue 1 removes the consequences of you not taking advantage of treatment.
Supporters estimate issue 1 will slash the number of people in prison, saving taxpayers $136 million a year. But we discovered similar law changes in California and Oklahoma resulted in a lot less in savings. Stay with us. Our special countdown to Election Day coverage continues after the break. Well, thank you for joining us for our Democracy 2018 countdown to Election Day. We are just 3 days from it all being over, which is good news for many of you who feel like you've been bombarded with campaign ads, the negative ones especially. Probably just had to watch some. Sorry. The question we had, though, is are these negative ads really effective? Each campaign season starts with ads timid enough, the positive get-to-know-me spots telling the backstory of a baby-kissing politician who loves his country, is kind to puppies, and calls his mother. They are, of course, followed by the opponent's ads, which paint the same person as an out-and-out menace to society, a threat to our very way of life. The noise from these ads can at times be overwhelming, and the voters who tend to tune them out are often likely to check out.
What it tends to do is on both sides, and particularly for independents, drive them out of deciding to vote because they get so disenchanted with what they see, they just say, a pox on both your houses, I'm not interested in voting.
The good news, besides the fact that the election is almost over, is the fact that you've likely seen the worst of it.
I think right now it's just a constant repetition, which then further has the effect of continuing to drive people out. So you're not going to see any new messaging unless there's something dramatic that happens in the last few days of a campaign.
What you are likely to see are friendly faces at the door this weekend.
Our studies continue to show the single most effective tactic is face-to-face interaction. It's all old school. And it's basically because they don't just see a candidate's campaign, they see a person who supports that candidate.
A softer, more human approach than this. And while the negative ads may leave you with a bad taste, people you like, campaigning for candidates you like, is supposed to do the opposite. They're called surrogates, singers, actors, sports figures, using their celebrity in an effort to persuade you. Something we're seeing frequently here in Northeast Ohio over the years. The question is, does it really work?
Well, here in Northeast Ohio.
10 years ago this weekend, Bruce Springsteen looked to rally Cleveland voters for Barack Obama, a role he also pulled off on the night before the election in 2004 for John Kerry.
These ideas are what's at stake tomorrow.
Years earlier, it was Joe Walsh at the Wolstein Center for the Clinton-Gore ticket.
Like a Hummer rock and roll should give the president a rock and roll welcome.
But it's not always big concerts. Sometimes it's simple things, like actor Cal Penn urging people to vote early for Hillary Clinton outside the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections.
It's a great way to do it, not having to wait until Election Day, try to figure out your schedule now.
But do celebrity surrogates really have an impact on voters?
Well, I think they do, depending on the situation. So we had the recent situation with Taylor Swift in Tennessee, backing the Democratic candidate Phil Bredesen, the former governor of Tennessee. A lot of younger voters, or potential younger voters, will maybe show a slight uptick in voting because someone who's their personal idol they really see as, for the first time, speaking out politically and following her lead.
Sutton says celebrities work in preaching to the choir, not necessarily to those not sitting in the pews.
The ones who I don't think it has much of effect on are independents or people who are still deciding. Partisans, it's not so much about, you know they're going to vote, it's about getting them to get other people to come out and vote for those candidates as well.
Get your family out there and vote, man, because this is the most important day of our life.
I'm not sure if LeBron has had his registration changed to California yet, but he's right. Red, blue, purple, doesn't matter how you vote. What matters is that you do vote. Polls open at 6:30 on Tuesday morning. We're going to have you covered with Good Morning Cleveland and throughout the day with our News 5 app. And when the polls close at 7:30, you can be sure we're going to have the results for you immediately, on air and online. We've got a team of reporters scattered throughout the state for the most extensive coverage of the 2018 midterm elections. For all of us here at News 5, I'm John Kasich. We'll see you Tuesday.